Hey everybody, welcome back to another survival series here on my channel. I'm Boomer, your host, and today we're going to start getting serious. So what does that mean? Whoops. Well, we're talking about slime fun. I want to kind of show you where we left off from cultivation, which is really going to help us. So we have 84 cloches put in. 80 of them are running active plants. 4 are currently set up but not activated, and I have 5 more sitting waiting to be used. But all of those drops are now coming in here to these 240, that's right, 240 storage units. This looks horrible, and this is really getting crowded and ugly in here. And the goal was to take all production outside of this bigger chamber back out there. But in order to do that, we have to get serious with slime fund production. Right now I'm running 8 level 2 gold pans and 8 level 1 dust washers. That's it. There's no way we can get serious and get massive amounts going, right? So we have some add-ons that could potentially help with dust production. We could do it with, let's see, where do we want to start? Let's start with Exotic Garden. Let's see, it's somewhere on page 1 here. Where did Exotic Garden go? Here we go. So we could use the magical plants, right? We got gold, we got iron, we've got aluminum, tin, silver, all that. But we need insane amounts of bone meal to get anything in any decent rate, so that's not going to work. We could use Dynatech, we could use the apiaries, but again, they don't produce at a fast enough rate. We could use a material hive, same problem though, it's every 30 minutes for one. Even with all the bees you could put in there, it still would only drop it down to like 12 minutes, so it's still not fast enough. We could use Supreme. Now Supreme might not be a bad idea. The tech generator can produce resources. It's 64 per cycle, but this, by default it's 30 minutes. So that still isn't that fast. And I could add common heads in there, but I would need 128 common heads per just to drop that down to 12 minutes, which is still very slow. And while I could set up light expansion to possibly do it, there really just isn't another add-on that's going to be fast enough other than Infinity Expansion. We need to start with the dust extractors and then upgrade to the Infinity Dust Extractor. Well, when you look at here, we're talking ore grinders, gold pans, dust washers, cores, circuits. It means a lot of auto crafting has to take place. Well, in order to auto craft, we got to go back to networks because core slime fun isn't the long-term solution for me. But you want to see what it takes to auto craft in networks. Let's see, here we go. All right, optic glass, no big deal. Optic cable, no big deal. Auto crafter enhanced, which is going to involve some cargo motors, some blistering ingots. Not a huge issue. I've got uranium automated. Here's where the problem comes in: is nanobots, androids, which means plastic, which means I have to really expand my slimy tree taps farm. Shrinking base, which means radioactive optic stars, which is 6 blistering ingots per. So yeah, so I can't use networks autocrafters yet because I don't have the resources. So we're gonna have to use core slime fun. Now I do have 2 set up right now automating uranium, so we can get blistering ingots. That's not going to be the problem. We'll get some heated pressure chambers. I only have 1. We'll get 2 more built, get them going. And then I think the first thing we need to do is build out slimy tree taps with 2 Dynatech growth chambers. And if you've ever built a growth chamber, you know that's not really the simplest thing in the world to do, but I don't have anything else that can produce wood fast enough. Infinity Expansion, Supreme, none of the other add-ons, even Core Slime Fun with the Android, still can't produce fast enough as the Growth Chamber 2 can. I'm either going to end up having to do 2 1s or 1 2, or I might even bite the bullet and try to do more. But if you've ever built these, again, tree growth accelerators, crop growth accelerators. So carbonatos, not bad. Magnesium salt, I can do that, water in a vaporizer. But then now we're talking about crop growth accelerators, programmable androids. So again, I've got to automate tree taps just to get this thing going. Growth accelerator, again, so you get the idea, right? To really start going, we're really going to have to put the pedal down and get some serious grinding done to get to the point of making networks autocrafters. That's really the first major thing we do. Oh, and to get networks set up, stuff like monitors and pushers and grabbers, we also have to automate cargo. I'm going to need input nodes. I'm going to need output nodes. I'm going to need connector nodes. I'm going to need a ton of stuff. Oh boy. All right, let me get a plan put together and we'll get started and get right back. So we got stage one, and that was to get going on Android production. First thing we set up and crafted were 4 growth chambers from Dynatec, and actually the MK2s. So to make 8 of those didn't make sense because it only produces 6 logs per cycle. Here it produces 18 and much faster. And the additional amount of resources to go from an MK, or really a regular growth chamber, to the MK2 was negligible. So all 4 of those are producing wood. Then we went with 6 resin extractors, or let's see, 8 resin extractors, all pulling out resin. Now, they've actually been a little bit faster than the 4 Dynatec growth chambers. I probably could have gotten away with 6 to keep it even, but that's fine. I had 4,000 or 5,000 logs that caught it up. Then I'm running 2 rubber factories to turn the resin into rubber. And as you can see, they are fully backed up. So realistically, I probably could even add a 3rd rubber factory. Then from here, the rubber's turning it into raw plastic. Raw plastic is turning into regular plastic. And I believe we're pretty well set now for plastic. We have over 1,200. So to get things going for Androids, we're in great shape. So stage 2 now of this Get Serious project is going to be creating SlimeFun's autocrafters. We're going to need both vanilla and enhanced. And so I think what we're going to do is 32 of each to get started. And the reason I'm probably going to do the rugger ones is because we still have a number of vanilla things that need to be autocrafted. But getting back, it's not a big deal making the SlimeFun ones, simply because part of the autocrafter is to use a enhanced autocrafter. So making them, they're not going to go to waste. They're going to get reused. The only ones that might go to waste slightly would be the core SlimeFun ones, since there's no way to upgrade them from a regular autocrafter into the enhanced one. So let me get started on that grind. Well, that was a grind for sure. Let's look at it this way. To get the autocrafters fully set up in Networks, right? So everything with optic glass. So there's stone chunks, synthetic emeralds, synthetic lapis, the emerald shards, which means I need all of that automated. There's the optic cables, which this was the easy part. That took probably an hour by the time I had everything done. It's these 2 pieces. Right, so the autocrafter has cargo motors. Okay, there's a lot involved in cargo motors. Crafting motors, that means we had to get blistering ingots automated. It means I had to get planks automated, crafting tables automated. To get the nanobots, this is what kicked my butt for the last 2 days. So the programmable Android I finished last night. This one, probably outside of the plastic sheets, probably took an hour to fully set up. The shrinking base was another one that killed me because of the radioactive optic stars. And then this one wasn't too bad. I had to get an Infinity Expansion Mob Simulation Chamber set up for the basic circuit boards. So all in all, there's probably 32, 33 autocrafters I had to set up. So there we go. There's a couple from the uranium over here. We added, let's see, a few more smelteries on the end. Yep. We've got all 3 of the heated pressure chambers making uranium, although now it looks like I am out of uranium. So apparently our production has changed dramatically. Let's go take a look and see what happened with my uranium. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to crank up production. Because again, everything stems from this. Having just 8 gold pans making everything that we need, and these things are keeping up way too fast. So yeah, there's clearly a lot of work to do. So the next stage, after all this was done, and it added just what I needed, right? Another 30 plus storage units. I'm trying to undo all this but I've had to add more just to get to this point. So now the next stage, I need to start setting up auto crafting of the network components. So pushers, grabbers, bridges, monitors. I'm going to have to set up, which means I have to automate cargo, which means I have to get, a whole bunch of other pieces automated and set up and to get enough to get going to start finally clearing all this junk out of here and getting to the points where we can even automate dust production much faster. Because again, the goal is to replace this with Infinity expansions, dust extractors to start, and then ultimately the Infinity dust extractors. We could use Supreme or Exotic Garden and some other ones. I could use the Dynatech growth chambers for some things, but they just don't produce enough fast enough. And so for Supreme, I would have to put down, 32 tech generators with each with 128 common heads just to get dust going at any kind of decent rate. Same thing with genetic chicken engineering. They would just need way too many pieces to get going. And so next step, I guess, is now to go back and get the cargo and networks components set up to autocraft. So here we go. All right, so now that we've gotten all of networks done, the main things that we need, we've added another 12 or 13 autocrafters to the end. All of this was just to get network autocrafters put together. This is insane. So in networks right now, we have put together all the basic machines that we need. So we got bridges, monitors, importers, exporters, grabbers, and pushers, all automated. And then at some point, we'll also set up greedy blocks. And actually, I'm probably going to need those soon. But I've hit a snag. While I was low on iron, I have like 20 double chests of iron blocks. So I've started automatically importing iron ingots into the system. And both ingot pulverizers are working on dust. The problem I have is copper. I have no ingots and I have no dust. To start moving production forward, to start setting up networks the way it needs to be, to start setting up Infinity expansions, dust extractors, I can't do this without copper. I need a ton of resources that have to be, the stupid bats, that have to be done using copper. And so I've decided, because it would take well over a week at the rate I'm getting copper to get me to the point where I need to go. So we're going to change up plans. We're going to jump into Supreme. And what we're going to work on is setting up 32 tech generators using the common iron golem heads for now. I don't have the resources to go much above that. So what we're going to have to create, go back to machines, is 2 of the mob tech collectors. We'll put 1 on each iron golem farm. Each one produces a golem about every 40 seconds. So over a course of 4 minutes, I'm going to get 6 common heads. So if you do the math out, I need roughly 4,000 heads. It's going to take probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a day and a half to farm all the common heads I need. Luckily, though, those are my spawn chunks. So I can just leave the server running, get caught up quickly. But we're going to need about 4,000 of these things. So we're going to put 128 in each mob tech collector. What that will do, instead of a stack of copper every 30 minutes, it'll drop it down to 12. So if we're coming here, the card we're going to need to make 32 copper dust cards. It won't be that bad. The basic components are relatively easy. These we do have an Infinity expansion mob simulation chamber running to start collect these, although I have like 4 stored up right now. Synthetic amethyst, not too bad. We're going to have to automate some lumps and stuff with some more grinders, but we've got some work to do. So I'll tell you what, I think the first step I need to do is get these 2 mob tech collectors crafted, get some power over there, get started, and then we'll come back. Well, this has turned into a much bigger project than I had really hoped for. I think when I started, I had something around 40 or 50 storage units put together, no autocrafters, no Supreme tech generators, and now look at this. We've already had to start a second layer of Autocrafters. I think there's over 60 put together. And all I'm trying to do, all this, right? I started this, let's see, 9 days ago or 7 days ago. And I've got 6 Infinity Dust Extractors and 2 Infinity Ingot Formers. And that's it. I really have here. I've had all sorts of challenges along the way. I've had power challenges. I had to add just to handle. As a matter of fact, I miscalculated. I don't know if I'm sure I can't be the only person who's ever done this, but I miscalculated the tech generator's power requirements. And actually, it wasn't even that. It was more the Ignis generator production. You can see on the screen it tells me it's 5K. I forgot that's the buffer, not the generation. So I miscalculated by half how much power I would actually generate. So I actually have 16 of these tech generators aren't even connected yet. Let's see, what other problems did we encounter along the way that we've had to upgrade machines? So we've added, I forgot what else we've added along the way up here. Some more ingot, oh, those are the ingot pulverizers. I think we snuck a couple smelteries in because we needed to up our carbon production. So I went from 8 air compressors. I had 4 making carbon or canisters and 4 making carbon. I added 24 more. So I added 12 of each. Oh, get out of there, dude. So now I have 16 canisters running, 16 canister, filling up the canisters, and 16 compressors, turning those into carbon, just to try to get some hardened metal ingots. Oh, and by the way, after all of that, I'm finally up to 280. And I think the only reason I'm up there is because they weren't even going out. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I guess I just lost quite a few of them. All right, that's awesome. Yeah, and all these slimes around here are driving me nuts. The problem is they're spawning on top of everything. So when we finally do build this out properly, there's going to have to be half slabs on top of everything. But we had to upgrade carbon production. We had to, I even cheated for a while and turned off some of the ingot formers for other ingots and use them for aluminum and for copper. Even with all those other things from Infinity running, I'm still way in the weeds. I still have no dust. I now have some ingots for aluminum and I have some for copper, but still no dust. So I think what I need to do is to wrap this up here, because I even had to go out to cultivation and I added the cobblestone, the cobblestone generators, the cobblestone plants into my 4 spare cloches out there. So now I have 5 running. I'm out of cobblestone. I'm starting to run out of power. If I'm right, my regulator is showing it's going down. It should be around 112. Okay, it's holding. It's around 114, 113,000 to the positive. But if I add much more, it's going to start going down. And I really would like to ramp this thing up. I've even been going back on the tech generators and I changed some of them. I think I have 8 copper. Yep, 8 copper, 4 aluminum, and 4 gold. And I've got 128 common golems in all 16 of these. So I've been having to make the tech mob things to just get that going. I think what I need to do is stop and reorganize my next stage of plans. And it looks like power is going to have to be stage number 1. And here's the other problem. These are right in the smack dab of the center of this room is right here. So this is where the energy regulator needs to go. And then everything's going to get built out of this. I don't know what I want to do yet. I may keep going for a while, get some additional resources put together, and then try to see what I can do to get some of this stuff out of here and out into the world and start actually setting up network autocrafters, an actual network storage unit, because I'm tired of running back and forth between what do I got set up here? It's something like 36, 108, 100. There's about 140, 150 storage units over here. I'm trying to remember where everything is. You can't access them because they're not on networks, right? So I can't just open something up and see where they're at. I've got power here. I've got power over there.
I had to expand this horrendously just to make Nether Ward. I think you guys get the idea. I really need to spend some time thinking about the next steps uh, because while I've got another 60 plus autocrafters set up, by the time I can get enough to get more dust extractors and more ingot formers, I also need a ton more cobble production too. So I really do need a game plan. But anyways, guys, I do need to wrap this up as I'm getting ready to travel tomorrow. We're going to keep working on this. We'll keep giving you some updates. But I think the next phase here is pretty obvious. It's a game plan in addition to what we've already done. So thanks you for watching. I really appreciate everybody hanging with us. And don't forget, next time we're together, we're going to go boomer. Just like you do when you play Slime Fun. You go boomer or you go home. We'll see you later.